I'm a minion build enjoyer. Now, vitamin D deficient ones will tell you that that's just an easy way to play the game, and that melee builds are the only true mark of a gamer, but they're depressed. There's something about being able to run around these maps, mining and gathering, while World War III unfolds behind your back. This all started a couple of days ago. Well, actually, 2 weeks ago, when I was playing this new roguelite about throwing a dice. And then a new update for Hades 2 came out, where they allegedly added Ares to the game. I never saw him. But they did add some updates to the Cauldron, which also exists in PoE. But in PoE, you have to pay $90 for it. And PoE has pretty good minion system. And then I realized I was getting PoE withdrawals. And now we're here. But before I get into how I got these untextured blobs to fight alongside me, let me start with a bit of context. Hades 2 is already experimenting with the idea of minion builds. Those of you who play the game will know that the most obvious way of having a minion is with Seleni's Moonbeam Hex. Once you pick that up, you have a chance of getting this boon, Night Bloom, which allows you to summon a dead enemy to fight by your side. Unfortunately, this minion will die after some time unless you go through Seleni's skill tree and pick up this little perk. Now you can have a permanent minion. Some other notes that will help you in your journey of becoming a minion master in Hades 2 are these, which will make your minion stronger and allow it to inherit some of your stats. But with this setup, maybe after a dozen room clears, you will end up with one random minion that may help a little bit. But that's far away from this. However, minion journey in Hades 2 does not stop there. I found out that you can pick this weapon that allows you to spawn a resemblance of a minion. See, this tab's passive will spawn a turret kind of minion after you charge your attack or your special, which will allow you to bring your minion count up to 3. That is, if you manage to pick up all the necessary boons and charge your 2 attacks quickly. Pretty conditional. Oh, other than that, apparently there's also a duo boon from Apollo and Hera that allows you to summon one more minion. And Aphrodite's duo boon with Hera that puts yet another enemy on your side. So ultimately, maybe at some point, somehow you can end up with like 4 or 5 minions. But that's just too much work. Too many ifs, buts, and whens. What if instead of doing that, you could just not? And just summon the minions you want and play a minion build right from the start. Meet modding, a concept that allows video games to survive longer than they should have. A tech that fixes bugs developers themselves did not have time to fix. Art that turns video games from this to this. Or from this to this. I have played a bit with Hades 2 modding when I made this build copy-paster for those who don't actually want to play the game, but zoom through maps while watching 10th react video of why Elon Musk is not a real gamer. And so here I am once again, pre-trained with Lua scripting experience and a dream to not play Hades 2. So how does this work? And why don't these have textures? The first thing was figuring out how does the game actually summon a minion. So I started perusing game scripts. Search terms like minion, summon, or hex, they don't really yield any meaningful result. I searched the entire Seleni's talent trait data set in hope it would lead me to some function somewhere that triggers when player presses the F button. At this point, nothing really helped. However, I did end up here. A function with a name that could potentially mean what I needed to mean. It is at least what happens when you trigger Seleni's hex. It raises a last killed enemy. Also, looking at the body of the function, there is some semblance of words that could mean this is how the game raises an enemy and makes it player's ally. I mean, all these words point to that. So the next logical step was to call a function and see what happens. As per programming's best practices and guidelines 2025, rather than understanding how this actually works, you latch on to the next thing that could maybe do what you needed to do. So we follow this part of the code. There's no way this is not it. It takes an enemy name, sets a bunch of properties on it, one of which is charmed. It does some spawning functionality, some thread stuff, can be that important, I'm a JavaScript developer, adds some modifiers and returns this new enemy. So call the function, repack the mod, run the game, and okay. So at this point, I thought my attempt at not playing Hades 2 was not gonna work. But then I did another search. What are all the places where this function is used? And it led me to this. Spell summon. It takes enemy data from the current room, applies a bunch of multipliers to it, creates it, changes its stats, but most importantly, adds the new allied enemy to the map state. And there's a couple of other things, but we'll get to that. And would you know it? An untextured minion. Alright, now back to the last part. First issue here is that you can summon just one minion, but that can easily be circumcised by setting... Wait, what's this? Detonate summon? Is this what I think it is? Fuck, that doesn't work. Oh my god! You can detonate your minions! This game is actually PoE light! But hold on. Where was I? Oh yeah. So you can set max summons on weapon data to summon as many minions as you want. And you can also just set this boon to not fuck around with them getting despawned mid-fight. And there you go. Full-on Zoomancer minion build that you can also detonate in Hades too. It's liable, it works, it can kill Kronos. Here's the clip. But wait, what if